almost Christmas, the best time of the year. The warm and cozy snuggling under a blanket, the candy and delicious food, the hot cocoa in front of a good movie. But there's one thing that I enjoy the most, and that is playing Secret Santa. This is a game my wife's family introduced me to. You randomly pick a person that you will give a present to, and you will be picked by somebody else, so you never know who is going to give a present to whom. This makes giving presents way more fun. There's one problem though. You need to have one person that doesn't participate who picks all the Secret Santas for everybody. And in almost all cases, this is my mother-in-law. But since she's the mother, she gets presents anyways. I should become a mother too. This way I get way more presents. But since this leaves her out of the fun of actually participating, for this year I'm going to give her the best present a son-in-law could give. Roughly 250 lines of code. I will write a program that randomly picks each person's Secret Santa and tell them using WhatsApp. So this year my mother-in-law could actually participate. And you know the saying, happy mother-in-law, happy life. Or so. Nevertheless, let's get coding. The first thing I want to show you is the structure of the CSV file. I already prepared the header, and as you can see, the first column will be the name and the second will be the phone number. For testing purposes, I will simply add some random guys I met at a super dope party last week. One guy had incredible superpowers and the other had money. Reading in this file is super basic golang stuff. First open the file, next create a new CSV reader and set the comma as a semicolon. This is just a personal preference. The next few lines read in the first line of the CSV file, hence the header. After that I iterate over all the rows and create a contact instance, reading in the data from each row and append it to the records. At the end I return all the information in a slice. In the main file you can see that I first read in the contacts file, then iterate over all the context and simply print out the name as well as the number. Running all the Go files you can see that it prints out all the contacts I added in the beginning. Reading in the context was a piece of cake. Now it's time to randomly pick each person's Secret Santa. Or tell everybody that they should give the presents to me. No, that would be immoral. Let's hit the keyboard. I just finished the randomizer function and want to show you how it works. Since the context will be picked randomly, I will be using the math_rand function from the Golang standard library. In my first video I made the mistake of not setting a random seed before showing you my code. And I made a promise that this will never happen again. So you can see in the init function right here that I'm actually capable of learning. The randomize function creates a new map containing a contact as a key as well as the value. The contact I use as the key will be the one who got picked. The value contact is the one picking. You can see this right here. Since every single person needs to pick a Secret Santa, I iterate over all contacts. Let me first explain the picking process right here in the pick contact function. I pick one random contact from all contacts using a random number generator. Then I validate if the pick is valid. Of course, if someone picks himself, the pick is invalid. It is also invalid if the contact got already picked. If both conditions are met, the pick is valid. In this case, the contact OK variable gets set to true. This breaks the for loop. After that, I add the pick to the picked contacts map. In the end, I return all picked contacts. Here in the main file, I add the randomize function right here. Then I iterate over all the picks and simply print them out to the console. Let's check if the code works. The code seems to work, but only having 2 participants is kinda lame. So let's add Catwoman and the Joker to the party. Run the code again, and here we go, random picks. Now it's finally time to tell everybody who is going to be their Secret Santa. I will be using WhatsApp for this. So I searched the internet for a library and actually found one. Looking through the README file, I saw that sending the messages seems to be pretty easy. So I decided to give it a shot. And spoiler alert, I wouldn't shoot this video if it wouldn't have worked. The first thing I usually do when trying out new libraries is seeing if they have an examples folder on GitHub. If they do, I read through all the examples. This usually gives me a good impression on how the library works. When I dabble around with new libraries, I always define an interface to hide away all implementation details. This way I get an easy to use, easy to extend and easy to mock clean interface to use in other files. And this time is no exception to that. You can see right here that I defined the WhatsApp client interface with two functions, login and send message. The defined WhatsApp client struct will implement this interface. It needs to hold the connection as a field variable so I can call the actual WhatsApp library functions. The new WhatsApp client function simply creates an instance and returns it. So nothing fancy here. The login function actually does a few things. First, it creates a connection. After that, it prints the QR code to the terminal using this library right here. I got that from an example I found on GitHub. The QR code is needed to connect your WhatsApp client on the phone to the code. It works the same way as if you were to connect your phone to the WhatsApp web client. I'm pretty sure you connected your phone to the web client, so you know how it works. After scanning the QR code, I use it to log in. The conLogin function actually logs me into my WhatsApp account and opens a session, which I completely ignore since I'm a total badass. If nothing goes wrong, I store the connection in the WhatsApp client for later usage. The sendMessage function first checks if the client has been connected by checking if the connection is nil. This way I can make sure that the potential user of my WhatsApp client, let's call him Future Thomas, actually makes the right move and logs in before trying to send messages. Trust me, I know this guy. He would totally be this kind of person who forgets to log in before sending messages. Anyways, after that I prepare the message struct from the WhatsApp library using the number and the message I passed to the function. The way the remote JID is built seems to always be the same, at least according to the example code I found. So I guess I could leave it this way. Using the stored connection, I then send the message to the internets, and hopefully to the lucky guy or girl who will receive the beautiful Secret Santa message. In the main file you can see right on top that I create a new WhatsApp client. At the end of the main function I iterate over the randomized pics and send the messages using the WhatsApp client. Now, after explaining the code, let's give it a try. Why is it always the case that I strictly follow the example code and it never seems to work right off the bat? After some searching, I found out that apparently I'm not the only one having this problem. And thanks to this comment right here, the solution seems to be setting the correct client version. So I did that. As you can see right here, the new WhatsApp client function now takes the major, minor and patch function tags as integer arguments. With these, I can call the set client version right here. And after running the code, you can see that I now get this super huge QR code blocking almost my entire screen. Isn't that beautiful? I started recording my screen and showing you in the web client that the messages actually got sent. But then I found out that I basically had to blur out everything. So instead, I took the screenshot. So you have to trust me that the code works. After running it, I saw one problem though. I was able to see all the messages that got sent, so I would be able to tell who is going to give the presents to whom. This is a big no-no I needed to fix. After going through the documentation, I saw that there's a delete message function that also has a boolean from me argument. So I assumed that this is how I could hide the messages from me while keeping it visible for all the other persons. So I decided to try it out. As you can see, I added the delete function to my interface and the implementation right here. After running the code and scanning in the QR code with my phone, you can see that I added some output to the console. Before that, I was not getting any kind of feedback from the code on whether or not the message got sent. So I figured it would be nice to see something if the code actually works. Again, I'm not able to show you in WhatsApp that the code works. But you have to believe me that the messages got sent and I do not see them in my history. This is exactly how it should be. But you can check out the code and try it out for yourself. As always, I will leave a link to the GitHub repository in the description. So how about you? Do you play Secret Santa? And how do you figure out the pics? Leave a comment down below. The positive feedback I get from my OG fanbase really keeps me motivated to put out a video every week. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you know the drill. Until next time, keep on coding.